You're listening to the Para House Entertainment Network. Come join us as we take you deep into the fire to the paranormal realms of hauntings, UFOs, ETs, alien abductions, strange creatures, and the vastness of universal consciousness as we continue to seek what is not supposed to exist as we search for the truth that only comes from going into the fire. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Into the Fire. How are you all doing tonight? We're excited that you're all here. We've got a super show tonight. We're going to bring on Greg Childress, and we're all jumping on the Chili train to talk about some upcoming events. He also has a great story that we hope we get covered here. We'll probably hit that off first. We also have some special guests coming along with Chili. Austin Maynard is in the house, so we'll be having him on here lately. And also there's the Ghost Sisters maybe appearing later also. So it could be a fun-filled night, especially for you guys in the chat room. But I'm going to go over to Billy and Tonya. How you guys doing, folks?
We're doing good, brother. How about you?
Yep, doing good.
I'm having a fantastic day. Fantastic day for an old man.
It's nice to see the sun shining again. I feel like we've been underneath a cloud for the last month.
Yeah, you're 100% right. 100% right. I got to send you some pictures to give you an idea what's going on up at the wonderful and beautiful Octagon Hall we've been doing up there, so you can take a look at that.
Yeah.
But we're still in the process of it, and folks, you're going to be amazed when you see it next time. So I truly believe so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and go ahead and read a bio of Greg Childress, and we will go from that point on. Greg Childress has been in the entertainment industry, boy, I'll tell you what, tongue-tied too, in the entertainment industry for over 30 years. And he has worked with some of the biggest names out there: Aretha Franklin, Brooks and Dunn's, ZZ Top, Britney Spears, Prince, Maroon 5, Jonas Brothers, Yes, Rod Stewart, Matrina McBride, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, Randy Houser, Lee Brice, Kid Rock, Kenny Rogers, Blake Shelton, and Usher, just to name a few. And then he has made his way into the paranormal world and has been very active in the field for the last 5 years, and has been promoting events and doing live from R&R live shows from certain areas. And we're going to have a great one for you this week on Saturday night, where Chili's going to be going live that also. So with all that, we welcome Greg Childress to Into the Fire.
There you go.
Oh, he's there? No, there he is. Okay, hey, Greg. What do you say, Chili?
Hey, what's up, guys? I literally got a fire. Well, you can see the sparks coming up. I'm into the fire.
Yeah, you are the fire right there, man. You are into it.
On it, so I can stay.
It's coming, yeah. If it flares,
warm, huh?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if it flares up, it's going to really look eerie because your head's going to be like, whoa.
I know it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Awesome. So, brother, what's been going on?
Man,
I know you've been a busy son of a gun.
Yeah, which the entertainment side, I don't travel much anymore as far as inside the buses. I chase them around.
Yeah,
they have a problem on their way to a show. I'm the guy they call 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning as the sun's coming up. I'll try to diagnose it over the phone, and if I can't get somebody to be my hands, I'll go out to it myself. And matter of fact, today was a heck of a day. It took me everything I had to make this on time. This was a priority to me because Octagon's always I feel attached to that place for some reason. I think a lot of people do. Once you
Yeah,
go,
we do. There's a lot of us that do. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
and the passion I see you guys have for that place just warms my heart. So, anytime I can be a part of anything to do with Octagon or Into the Fire, I'm going to be there if I can. But I had to go to my storage room today because I was working on a bus today that actually I took literally a fuel bath.
Really? Did you?
The fuel line was clogging up, and what it was trash from the fuel tank.
Yeah.
So I had to crawl under this bus, and it's got 200 gallons of fuel in it. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got to dump it, so I'm going to pull a plug out from underneath, and there's 200 gallons of diesel above you. So when I pull it out, I know I'm going to wear it, but it's a matter of how much.
Right.
And I tried to get the tub under it, and it come out. It got my eyes, so I couldn't see really. So I was feeling for when the spray stopped on me. I knew I had it in the bucket because I had to run diesel. And I took 3 showers, and when my wife got home, she goes, "I smell fuel." I was like, "I'll take another one." I mean,
yeah. I know. I'll tell you one thing. When I was working with that, we had a repair service, on the road repair service we did for AT&T and quite a lot of other major companies. And man, when we had to go out and do that, and worst of all, when you're doing like Gordon Food Services and that kind of stuff, and you're changing fuel filters and all that stuff in sub-zero weather, and it froze up and everything, and oh my gosh, you come home stinking like crazy. And it's just like, and you begin to love the smell of diesel fuel. Yeah. It's like,
but when I went to my storage to go get some tools so I could clean out these fuel lines and stuff and blow them out, I stumbled across a sack with a lot of my old tour memorabilia. Like when I was out there with Britney Spears, and here's the laminate, and as you can see, I've been called Chili for a long. Let's see if I can get that up there where you can see it without a glare. That's the Britney.
Yeah.
At the bottom, it's got my name and photo. That way, you're just not walking in with a piece of plastic. They got to know.
Right. They got to know who you are. Right. It's got Chili.
I mean, man, I found some stuff. Let's see here.
That's awesome stuff. You know that?
Vince Gill, Amy Grant. That's the Christmas tour that they did.
Yeah.
Man,
that's awesome.
Come across a few. Here is a band that me and you will know. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's an awesome band.
Those guys were awesome.
Yes, they are. They are awesome.
Heck of a laser show, man. It took me back.
Well, that's what it does for me. I was in radio in 74, 75, 76, back in the early days. And we do concerts, we do that kind of stuff. And I remember the big monster concerts, you had at the gigantic stadiums, and there was like 5 or 6 bands, where Rod Stewart and Faces show up, Uriah Heep, you name it, they were there. And it was just awesome, Aerosmith, gosh, just excellent stuff. But,
and me and Billy got to talking the other day. He was just asking me a few questions about what I actually did now, and then we got to talking about when I first got in the business. And when I first got into the business, I worked for Prevo, the people that manufacture the entertainer bus.
Right.
And I was building my first house, barely over 20 years old, 21, and working at the dealership pretty much. And on a Friday, the man that ran the place knew I was, because I'd work overtime, polish wheels on the side, because my wife has champagne taste and I got beer money. So she's wanting all these extras in the house. And so I'd have to work on the side to make side money. And he come out one Friday, actually Thursday, and said, you've earned 3 days off with pay. And I'm like, really? I was like, well, can I get them and still work? And that way I'm sort of getting paid twice. He laughed. He says, no, but I'm going to do you a favor. Aretha Franklin, and I've never done a gig yet. Aretha Franklin just fired her driver and needs a driver. She has to leave tomorrow. Do you want to do it? I was like, well, let me call my wife, because my little girl was not even born yet. And I called her. It's like, honey, all these extras in the house that you're wanting, I can make some side money doing these weekend runs. And I said, matter of fact, they got one that's going to take me out for 10 days, and he's going to give me the time off to do it. Plus I've got 3 days already earned with pay. And so I'm going to do it if you think it's okay. And she said, yeah. So I drive up to Detroit to pick her up. Got a big old bus and a trailer behind it. Old country boy. I've been south to Florida and Georgia, never really been up north. And I pick her up, and we're going to New York City. They didn't tell me that when I left. I get there, I'm like, New York City. I'm like, holy crap. Can you imagine driving a big bus trailer downtown New
York City?
Talking about sweaty palms, buddy. I mean, I was dripping in sweat. I was so scared. But when I got into after I come out of the Lincoln Tunnel, it was like another world, man. It was mayhem. And we're going down the shopping strip where all the Macy's and all that is, the shopping district. And she says, Mr. Chili, I want to go to Macy's. I'm like, okay. She says, just drop us off at the front and just make the block. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not saying it out loud. I'm thinking to myself, are you freaking crazy? So she gets out, and I look right across the intersection. There was a spot next to the sidewalk big enough for my bus. And in the intersection, there's a guy with white gloves. He's doing the traffic thing. I mean, he's getting it, got the whistle. He's doing his dance. He motioned for me to go across the street. I go across, and I pull. He's blowing that whistle, and I'd look in my mirror, and I'd see him. He's going, move, go. Like, you can't sit there. He comes. He's elderly black man. He turned out to be very nice, but he come up. He had an attitude. He said, man, what part of me pointing for you to go don't you understand? Get this thing down the road. And I was like, man, I just dropped off Aretha Franklin. She wants me to make the block. I was like, dude, I'll never make the block in this. But he goes, you got the Queen? I was like, he goes, you okay, man? You just stay right there. I got you. I'll walk her across the street. You ain't got to come back over here. I'm like, cool. I was like, but she needs to see me. He said, well, come on out, hang with me. And I was like, in the middle of the street? He goes, no, on the side.
I can just see Chili out there now.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, crazy stuff. That was my first. I was like, so when I got an artist, it's sad but true. I got power. And when I was Rod Stewart, you guys, I know people's heard of Rod Stewart.
Oh yeah.
My next run was in New York. I had to pick Rod Stewart up. I'm anchored up in front of the Trump Towers, and I got there an hour early, and so I could dial in my bus, have it all ready, and I'm in there wiping it down. And this is when tube tops were in. Yeah, she was a nice looking lady. She's walking back and forth. I noticed she kept looking at the bus, and I had to get out and get something out of the bay, and I get back up in there, and about that time I hear on the door of the bus, and it's that chick, and she goes, "Is this Rod Stewart's bus?" I said, well, they ain't telling me who I'm picking up. I didn't want to tell her
right.
And she goes, yeah, this is Rod. You picking up Rod Stewart? She goes, I'd do anything to meet Rod Stewart. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I wish I could help you. I shut the door. 5 minutes passed. She knocks the door. She says, I'll do anything if I can meet Rod Stewart. I handed her a mop because I was getting ready to mop. I was like, I tell you what, you can be mopping. We can get all this stuff done. She threw that mop at me and starts cussing me. What do you think I am? I'm sitting here telling you I'll do anything, and you're going to hand me a mop. I was like, well, you just answered my question, ma'am. And while we were in this passing of words, Rod Stewart and his security guards had came down, and they were standing right beside the bus, so they could hear this conversation. I seen in the mirror, I seen him standing there. I was like, oh, man, I'm fired before he gets on the bus, because the chick is standing in the stairs of the bus.
Right.
He heard it all. He's laughing. And she sees him and starts freaking out. And the security grabs her and takes her on down the sidewalk. And he goes, you and I are going to get along just fine. He goes, that was first class. He's like, I thought I was going to lose it when you handed her the mop.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was,
that's awesome.
yeah. But Jonas Brothers was a crazy experience. Their last show was at the Staples Center in LA. And the bus that was running with me, the production bus, I had one of the brothers, and the bus that was running me was production bus. So it was wrapped with the Jonas Brothers pictures on the side.
Wow.
Which any entertainer driver hates that. Because
you know exactly who's there.
Right.
You got the bullseye on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the last show, they get done, and we're pulling out of the Staples Center. And my buddy asked me, he says, "Hey, man, what do you, how far you want to drive tonight?" I was like, "Man, let's just go about 100 miles out of town. First Walmart we see, just pull in the parking lot and pull our brake." So we did that. It was actually just about 75 miles. And I seen the Walmart. And I was like, "Let's hit it." We hit it, stopped, had us a couple of drinks, then went to bed. And I wake up the next morning, I've got all my germ shields down. Nobody can see in the bus. And he's the same way, parked next to me.
Right.
First thing I do is I get up and I grab my cigarettes and hit the Keurig thing. And as soon as my coffee was done, I opened that door and I had my hoodie on like this, except it was lower because in California in the mornings it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
So I stepped off the bus and man, it was like crowd. Freaking teenagers and mamas.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, they were coming. I hopped up in that bus, scared.
You had the cougars and the kittens.
I locked the door. They're hitting on it, beating on it. Because see, they didn't know who I was. All they knew that was probably a Jonas brother. They just stepped
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I reached up, I turned the CD on. I turned the CD on, and the driver next to me, Keith, he was laughing. He's laughing. He goes, "You silly ass Chili." He's like, "I've been trying to get your attention, but I couldn't get out of the bus to tell you." He's like, "I was just sure you would call me before you got
step out."
Dude, I didn't want to wake me up. I want to have a cigarette and a cup of coffee in peace.
Yeah.
And these people started getting violent on the bus. And he's like, "Dude, don't get out. Don't get out." I was like, "Man, I had enough." So I get out, and these mamas start arguing at me. "Well, let us come see that they're not on the bus." I was like, "I'm not going to do that." I was like, "Just take my word for it. They're not here." "Well, you ought to be ashamed of yourself." And this was a weekday because it was Sunday was the show. So this was Monday. And ladies, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself." I was like, "Oh, really, ma'am?" I was like, shouldn't these kids be in school? So they seen a Jonas Brothers bus. They call everybody, and it seems like the school is here. But we had to call authorities. They wasn't going to let us out to get us out of a Walmart parking lot.
Wow.
All over
That's
the Jonas.
crazy.
I just thought I had the Beatles, man. I mean, they were nuts.
That's insane.
Crazy.
That's insane. That's why, you know.
I got to see some good things. I know there was a band I was working with. I'll come across in Canada. Have you ever heard of the Yellowhead Trail?
I've never heard of that one. No. I spent some time up in Canada, but
it goes from east to west all the way across. It's one road. It's midway up. It ends up in Vancouver. No, Vancouver's on the west side, and it ends up in just south of Quebec.
Wow.
On the east coast side. But midway coming across the Yellowhead Trail, it's like going back in time. There's no such thing as cell phone towers, nothing.
Yep.
So for like 72 hours, I had no phone. Man, it was awesome. Just me on the bus.
Yeah.
And I seen a beautiful lake, bunch of moose grazing on the backside of the lake, and there was parking. So I pulled down there and I park and get my grill out, grill me up. I had some salmon, grilled me up some salmon. I'm sitting there, mixing me a drink, kicking back and enjoying life. And I went up on the bus. A lot of times, fans, the VIPs and stuff, they'll bring gifts. They bring up food, mama's cookies, this and that. And there was a Tupperware bowl, about a 2-gallon bowl. It had chocolate chip cookies. I was like, heck yeah. I grabbed those cookies and I sat on the couch, started eating the cookies, didn't even go back outside. Something caught my attention on television. 18 hours later, I wake up.
Yeah, those are some good cookies, weren't they?
Yeah, they weren't just regular cookies. They weren't labeled. You know what I'm saying? So I I get to my pickup. I'm like, hey, man, y'all need to, when y'all set desserts up here, you need to let me know which ones there are, because y'all could cost me my career at this point. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you remember those cookies, that 2-gallon jug y'all had? I said, I ate half of them the other night. They said, what? You ate half? They said one cookie was 4 doses, Chili. You're supposed to break it up in 4s.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, 18 hours later, I'm up. It wasn't like I laid down. I just sort of went out and had to slobber,
Yeah. Awesome cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the road life was pretty crazy. You get out there and you're in your own world almost. There's no law. The law is the tour book, the rules in the tour book.
Exactly.
And when you come home, everything, you're on a schedule, itinerary, everything, where you're going to be every minute of the day.
Yeah.
And then when you come, and everything's handed to you. When you go in, you don't pull your wallet out. It's because of who you're with. It's not because of who you are.
Right.
And then when you come home, your family wants to go do something, and you've been out on the road. You don't want to, but you don't want to tell your family because they've been waiting on you. So you'll go places, and then you're pulling out your wallet for all this, and you're like, man, you have to face reality. Hey, I'm just an average
Joe doing a job that does something. I get some stuff, special privileges every once in a while.
Right.
Speaking of special privileges and stuff, how did you get from there into the world of the paranormal, man?
That's where I was about to get to.
What tripped you there?
Well, I'd always been interested in it and had things going on when I was growing up that I really made it in my mind that it was some scientific explanation, or I was young and I got scared and my mind matrixed. It wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
We were living in Hendersonville, Tennessee, just north of Nashville, my wife and I, and actually bought the house. My mother had it first, and she was always saying, there's something in this house. Something's going on. Something is in this house. I'm like, honey, you're watching too much History Channel. You're watching too many ghost shows.
Right.
And she's like, no, I'm telling you, something is going on. And one night we were horse playing around. I finally go to sleep. She wakes me up. Hey, Mr. Scientist, tell me where our damn pillow is. I'm like, what? I was like, it's probably behind the headboard in the wall. And I went to stick my hand in between the mattress and the headboard, like sometimes your pillow might go to. And when I did, it was like an arc of electricity, almost like where you would touch somebody and you shock them, except I didn't get the shock. You just heard the pop and actually like a blue flash, just quick. She said, what was that? I said, oh, that's just static electricity. She said, well, do it again. She's seen the blank look on my face because I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I did it again, did the same thing. She goes, oh, no, nobody's going to believe this. So she went and got our son up. He was 17 years old at the time. He come in there and she says, do it now, do it now. And I stuck my hand in it. I was like, it ain't going to do it again. I did it, and it did it. He went to the front of the house. He never come to that back side of the house ever again because he had been saying something was going on. But eventually, hey, to this day, we don't know where that pillow is.
Really?
But nevertheless, her aunts come to visit about 6 months later, and they're Pentecostal, not knocking Pentecostal at all. As soon as they come through the front door, they set their bags down. They start, no. Something's in here. And they're like, it's in here for Chili. And I'm like, yeah, I started laughing, okay, she's talking to you, told you what's going on. So y'all bet. And my wife's looking at me like, no, I haven't. I didn't want them to think I was crazy. I haven't told nobody nothing. And they were just bent that something was there, and I never investigated my own place because the research I've done, hey, you don't want to really, if you don't
want to do that. That's the first thing we ever tell everybody. It's fun to go elsewhere, but don't start doing it in your own home.
Because if there isn't anything there, and you could bring something there while you're looking for something you think is there.
Right.
But my grandfather, when he passed away, not even, I had a bunch of finch birds in like a 8-foot tall cage. I mean, it was beautiful, and had like a tree branch in there. It was nice.
Mhm.
And one night, about in the middle of the night, I guess it was sometime after midnight, these birds started going crazy. I mean, they were like flying into the cage. A couple of them killed themselves. I mean,
Wow.
it was crazy. You know, I took the cover. This was happening under the cover because we covered them at night.
Mhm.
I pulled the cover off. I mean, it was mayhem. And 30 minutes later, I get the call. My grandfather in Florida passed.
Wow.
And he had passed, I guess, about the time the birds were going crazy.
All started.
Yeah. So we go down to Florida the next day. We're headed down. We get down there. My grandfather was old country, old soul, tight, you know, hated banks, hated politicians, everything, you know.
Mhm.
And he wanted to be cremated. Didn't want to be put in the $1,000 velvet thing. He said cardboard box. I mean, he'd already spelled it out. Cardboard box, cremation.
Yeah.
And it didn't even care about the urn. Put him in a sack and take him to his land and spread him out. So I did that, but I kept part of it, and I brought him home and took some, because he was big into gardening. Took some of his stuff, some of his plants, and put down in the jar, put a cork in it. It was an old whiskey bottle. Put it down in it, and I put it up on my bookshelf. And things got more active after that. And it was like me bringing that in the house brought him, and then others followed him.
Right, with him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, you're walking down the street and you see activity in a bar where there's people. If you're a drinker, you're going to go in there.
Right, exactly. Same thing with it's like a vacancy sign. We've got vacancies. Come on in.
Yeah. But we moved from there and moved up to Springfield, and my wife would call me at night, and you could hear through the phone somebody running upstairs. I was like, honey, grab the shotgun, go upstairs. If you hear sound, don't aim, just point to the sound and blast.
See what it is.
I said, just blast it. She was too scared. And then son came home from leave from the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Actually, he'd just come back from Afghanistan. He's upstairs, him and his buddy. And they're asleep. His buddy's in the bonus room, and he's in his room. About 2 o'clock in the morning, it sounds like a tornado. 2 Marines running down some steps going, I'm the hell out of here.
I'd be like,
we got a hotel down the road. And my wife, so you going to believe me now? I'm like, yeah, something's going on. And,
I might just have to believe you on that one.
Right. And I know y'all have heard of Jeffrey Dahmer's, right? Everybody.
Oh, yeah. No, well, he was from Ohio.
Yeah, this is what put the icing on the cake. I was with Wiz Khalifa, and we were doing a theater right across the street from, we call it the Dahmer Hotel. It's the Ambassador Inn. And I didn't even connect Ambassador, anything. I wasn't even thinking about Jeffrey Dahmer or anything. I was wore out, had a long day, and I check in the hotel room probably about noon. Mm-hmm. And I go up, pass out, take me a power nap, get up and go check out the town a little bit, get me something to eat, go back up and watch some TV, and I doze off watching TV, and something woke me up, water running. So I got up, man, it's water running, and I went to the bathroom, and the sink was on. The water was running, and I was like, well, maybe I got up my sleep, so I turned it off. Mm-hmm. No more than I sat down, water came on. I was like, nah. So I got up, I turned it off. Yeah, and it did it a third time, and I was like,
checking all the pressure, checking all that stuff.
Yeah, I was like, whatever's here, I need to sleep. Give me a break. Let me sleep. I slept. I got up, and I was thinking about that water, and I went downstairs. They said, "How was your rest?" I was like, "It was good." I was like, "But the water kept coming on." She goes, "Did it?" And then she told me what room I was in.
Oh,
I was in the room that he had committed the murders in.
wow.
And the actual room where the young black boy got away.
Uh-huh.
That's what got him caught. That was the room where he hit the boy with the hammer or whatever, and it didn't kill him. And when he was trying to mix up his stuff because he was giving these young men shots that would paralyze them, they would still be awake.
Right.
While he dismembered their body, and that shook me to the core. And so I started investigating stuff.
I think Jeffrey's coming through right now again. There he is.
So I started investigating different places I'd go. It got me into it. Like I'd go to Tombstone, be in Phoenix and have a day off. I'd run down to Tombstone.
Yep.
And awesome. I actually rented Birdcage Lounge, or actually rented the rest of the town. And we pulled up in the buses. I was out with Train, and they ended the tour in Phoenix. And we had like 10 days or so to get back across to Nashville. Only a 2-day drive, 3, tops.
Yeah.
So I called my wife, said, hey, why don't you fly out? And so and my buddy that was with me in his bus, he called his wife, that she flew out. So we take the buses because it was just like a 45-minute drive outside of Phoenix down to Tucson. And so we were pulled up down there, man. It was dirt roads. We cut our generators off so we wasn't stirring dust. And I anchored up, pulled my brake right beside the Birdcage Lounge. I mean, right beside it, because there's like an alleyway beside it. And I pulled the brake, and everybody's walking out in the streets like, who is that? Not knowing we ain't nobody. But those buses made it. So we got off. I was like, y'all just follow my lead. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, we're gonna use this VIP treatment right here. Like what? I was like, I'm gonna rent the Birdcage Lounge. And my wife started laughing, and that pissed me off. So we go to the saloon across the street. We order something to eat. I had a couple of drinks, and she says, okay, big boy, you gonna strap the set on and go over there and rent it? And I'm like, yeah, it's on. She goes, $50 says it don't happen. And my buddy, I called him Recon Rick, because I always seen him out in front in the buses. So the police would pull his bus over, and I could keep going,
Right.
he's like, I'll take that bet. I've put too many miles with this guy. He's going to get it. I go over there. I asked the young lady. I was like, how much business y'all do a day? And the way I asked her, it sort of, freaked her out. Like, what's that matter to you? I was like, well, I was just curious. I just hadn't seen that much traffic coming in and out. Could a person rent this place for the night? She says, what do you mean? I was like, well, say I give you $300, for when you lock the door, you could stay with us. You can go home and come back, let us out when you come in. And she's like, I don't know. I was like, well, I tell you what, I'll give you 500. And that started getting her. So she calls her mom and them owned it. Yeah. And I finally got the rest of the town. So when they shut it, they'd let me roam the streets, but I could only go in that one building. The rest of them were locked. Yeah. But man, you talking about off the chain. We had the whole town to ourselves. That I was like a kid in a candy store. Exactly. And I'm still to this day where I just left laptops on, recorders on. I think I had like 15 different recording devices inside Tombstone. And it was right after taps. It's right after taps, and I hadn't learned how to earmark all my stuff, right? Yeah. So I still got stuff I haven't went through yet.
Yeah, you're still you go back and you start finding out, what's this? Oh, that's the Birdcage. Yeah.
Yeah, because a few things I heard card shuffle with my own ears there when we were downstairs where they played poker. Went into the brothel rooms, and I laid on the bed and spit out some foul language, a little bit, trying to get some activity. And I actually heard, get out. I was offering 50 cents or something like that, and it told me to get out. I mean, you could hear it with your It was like, get out or go. And I think I got go, like just go on. And then when I started, I was like, well, I tell you what, I'll give you $100. Everything got quiet. You talking about getting cold? I guess they were all trying to crawl on me.
Right. Yeah.
I come out of there. They were laughing. They was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was like, I don't know. It got real cold in there. I don't want no more of it. and you could hear shuffling behind me as I came out, and Rick, he's a big old boy, big old country boy.
Yeah.
When it comes to paranormal, you talking about somebody getting giddy, I have to let him know where I'm at so he don't run over me. He's actually fun to investigate with because he gets worked up. I mean, you can see him shaking. I mean, it just terrifies him, you know. And I was like, I try to tell him, Rick, you're making it harder on yourself. They see your fear. And they're gonna, if depending on the personality of the entity we're dealing with, it's either going to magnify your activity or nobody's going to get nothing. And usually when I took him, activity got magnified.
Right.
So I've investigated some places in Canada, all over the US, some places people will probably never go. I mean, famous theaters, LA, man, about the Beverly Garland, every room I've stayed in at the Beverly Garland is active. I mean, very active. And when I stayed there, I never said anything to anybody about me being into the paranormal or anything. Who was it? New Kids on the Block. Nick, I was with him, and my wife, she's been with me on very few investigations. I took her to Savannah, and we're walking through the graveyard at night, and she's snapping pictures just at random. She stops in her tracks, blank face. I was like, "What's up?" And she goes, "Check this out, full body apparition." I'm like, "Tammy, I hate you. What?
Yeah.
You know how many people are looking for that holy grail?
Holy grail.
A full body apparition, you know?" And I was like, "You got it in 15 minutes of an investigation." I don't get it. And I'm sitting down trying to examine this photo. And I took me a bunch of photos trying to duplicate it. And we're sitting at a park bench right outside actually, it's still in the graveyard. And homeless down there, they'll crawl in anything, you know, in the bush, whatever. And I didn't realize that there was a homeless person in the bush laying down. And he come raising up out of the bush. Man, I about killed it. I mean, I didn't know. It scared the living crap out of me. And I thought I might have to pay a hospital bill, but I mean, it scared me bad. I mean, because he come up mumbling, and it was just a reaction. And my wife was like, "Man, I can't take you anywhere." But we went to the Thomas house. I was getting ready to go to Phoenix to build a couple of buses for Styx. And I know you've heard of that band, haven't you, Bear?
Oh yes, many times.
Yeah. He was shaking his head. Look, but we get it. Before I went, I was going to be gone a couple of months. I was like, well, better do something with the wife before I go. So I looked at a couple of bed and breakfasts, and then I seen Ghost Hunt at the Thomas house. Didn't know anything about the Wraith Chasers going to be there. We just go to the freaking Thomas house.
Yeah.
We go and get there, and everybody seemed to be cool. We go across the street to the church. They actually give me the key. Said, "Here, we'll let you." I think they could sort of sense that I was like, "This is bull crap, y'all," because I'd never been to a public event like that. You know, I've always done my own little thing, and what I've learned off of the shows and reading online, things to do, not to do, and kind of equipment. And I go across that church, and I pull my phone out like it's a recorder, and I'm walking around there like pulling a Zach, you know, whatever. And hey, is anybody in here? Come get me. Or maybe I'm not young enough because of the story on the pastor that he'd done something to kids or whatever. I said, maybe I'm not young enough, you pervert or whatever. I was like, but I got the key to your house right here in my back pocket. And the tassels, hanging off my pocket. And we go back across. And I was telling Tammy, go back across. I said, told you. I said, did anything happen in there? It was just me and you. Nothing happened. I was like, man, there ain't nothing here. We get across the street. They have dinner, whatever. Investigation starts. We go over with a group to this church. And I've done took the key out of my pocket and hung it back up. I got my backpack on with a couple of recorders and stuff, but everybody else where the way they did their, whoever's the tour guide or whatever, or leading that group, they had their own equipment. So it really was no need for me to have mine out. And so we was observing, and it was Chris. He was in the church, and I stood right in where you come into the entrance in the foyer, right there with my arms crossed. I'm like, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him setting something up. And he's doing some EVP session and got his meters out. And all of a sudden, it's dark, but yet you can still sort of see. I seen a person get up from the right side of the room, walk around the group, walk straight across in front of me off to the room on the left side of that church. I said, who just got up? Who just got up? And then they're like, nobody. I said, yeah, somebody just walked across this floor and I seen it. So I run straight to that room. My light, like I'm going to bust you. So I shine my light, nothing in there. I go back to my on point, on guard, so I can watch. And something's tugging on my back. And I'm thinking it's my wife. I'm like shoving it off. And it was like tugging on the string of my backpack. And I just thought maybe it was my wife getting nervous, yanking on it. And I was like, won't you freaking quit? And she's like, who are you talking to? And she was 5 feet away from me. And then I was like, shit, it's all over. I can feel it. I feel it coming on me. And then I said, I can feel it a couple of times. I feel it. And then Chris, funny guy like he is, he says, you feel it coming in the night? Talking to, repeating the song. And I was like, okay, jokester. And then about that time, focus goes back to the investigation. And I'm trying to figure out, it starts tugging on my thing again. And my wife heard the get out. I mean, it wasn't.
Disembodied.
Was she the first one out the door?
Yeah. She went to the bus because I took the bus with me that night.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to stay in the Thomas house.
And
she went straight to the bus. And I finished the investigation. I went back across the street because that rattled her. I went across the street and up to the conference room, and Doogie was in there. And as I walk in, as soon as I get in there, as soon as I'm walking through the door, Doogie was like, whoa. He's like, who just come in here? And it said me or something. And he looked down at it, and his box wasn't even on.
Yeah.
It was off. He goes, dude, that's freaking crazy. Kept on. And it finally let him know it was there for me. I guess I pissed it off.
Following you back. Yeah.
And then we get out on the balcony upstairs, and there's a little sitting area right at the top of the steps. And I've got a photo, and it's actually on R&R Live. You can see the shadow figure looking down on me, and it's in between me and another lady. The only thing you can see the other lady is her arm. It was so the darkness of this shadow figure was so dark, it took everything. You couldn't see through it. It was solid.
Yeah.
So you could see the lady's arms, but you couldn't see her face or the rest of her body. So you knew there was a person standing there. And then when you look at the picture, then you can see the head like looking down. It was like 7-8 foot. Its head was in the ceiling fan, and it was looking down on Chili. And I'm standing here. You could see me looking up, trying to figure out what's going on. And these were some school teachers, and they sent me that photo like 2 days later. They're like, we thought you might want to see this.
Yeah.
But that rattled me, and I was afraid to go home. I was like, this thing's following me. So I walked back across the street to the church by myself. And I was like, hey, I don't know who you are, what you are, but if I disrespected you, I didn't mean to disrespect you in any way. I was like, but I don't want you with me. I don't mind coming to visit, but I don't see no need. If I apologize if I've done anything to you. And it didn't go with me because I didn't have any issues after that.
Right.
But
it's definitely a great place. I mean,
Thomas House is a great
we
place.
love it.
Yeah.
With that being said,
you're going to another place.
Still open. I don't think it's still available to go into anymore.
No, the church you can't.
Yeah, last I heard, it was ready to come down.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah, I heard that somebody was trying to redo it. They put some stuff in it to hold it back up. And I have not been over to Red Boiling Springs to be able to check it out. But That's the last thing that I've heard. It's been a long time since I've been to the Thomas house.
So
Let me do one thing real quick here. Let me go into the chat room. I've got to say hi to the people in the chat. I've been watching the chat. You've been watching it, guys?
Yes.
How y'all doing? There's Mel. Val, what are you doing? Brandon. Hi there. Angel Lee. It's wonderful to see you here tonight. Tonya Sims is in there. Can you believe that? Hey, you know. Hi, Liz.
I saw Nikki in there.
Yep. There's so many. I've got so many people going on in here. Beth Allen. Hi, Beth. How you doing? Brandon Versey again. Bridget Fay. Hi, Bridget. I owe you a phone call. I'll be calling you in Florida here shortly. So, yeah, there's so many great people in here. I hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to get back in it. We've got 2 other people that are in the green room right now waiting to come on the air. Austin Maynard, and we have Mandy from Ghost Sisters. So it's going to be really something awesome and cool. So hang in there. Awesome. Yeah, and we're going to go in. That's the one thing we're going to talk about right now. I'd love to get into it. This Saturday, you're going home. What we call the Chili Home Alone event.
You know what? We're going to be home alone, but I'm going to have Mr. Sims and his better half. He can hit me for that when I get there.
No.
Yeah.
Probably would have hit you for not saying it.
Oh, whatever.
I don't know if he likes to keep his birthday a secret.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's round to the corner. We're getting real close to it.
So I'm going to see to it that we give Mr. Sims a good time Saturday night. I'm going to treat him up with a little surprise. So
there you go.
Tune in.
It's actually an excellent time to be there, and I'm glad this date worked out for us.
Yeah.
Bear, do you want to go into this?
Well, when the 9,000 Confederate soldiers showed up in 1862, it was February 13th. So it's the day before the 9,000 Confederate soldiers came to Octagon Hall. And you would have known that there was people already there. Some of the cavalry would have already been there getting everything ready to go. So they knew that there was going to be a large amount of people there. So that ought to bring up the edge a little bit, wouldn't you think?
Oh, amen, it will.
Yeah.
I finally got these comments going. You guys got some people in here. Yes.
Well, we got a few people in here. They are working on it. So, and we'll be talking to, hopefully they'll have some questions for you here, Chili. I'm going to put up the little event poster that you made and I hit on it. So,
gotcha. That's good, man. You did good.
It's called Chillin' with Chili, and it is presented by R&R Live. It's a live virtual ghost hunt Saturday night, February 12th, 2022. And it's we're calling it, Chili's calling it the Home Alone at Octagon Hall Museum in Franklin, Kentucky. Watch us live on www.facebook.com, R&R Live. And that's going to be a good time. What do you think? What time do you think that's going to go off, buddy?
Probably. What do you think, Billy? Probably about 9 o'clock or so.
Whatever works for you, bro.
8 o'clock. Yeah. Between 8 and 9 Central Time.
Awesome.
And then we'll go as long as the activity's good. And then too, if we're liable to leave the camera set up and take us a break, walk out and let people view what may happen while we're outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a house abandonment and go outside and watch what's going on in the house. And
absolutely. I mean, that way maybe we can get some footage like you guys got off the security cameras with that doors closing. That was freaking awesome, man.
Oh, we got more on that, Chili.
Oh man, that whole we've gotten so much stuff out of there, and the amazing stuff about it is that day was just a major. When you walk in, you talk about water earlier. I walked into place, the water's running into place. We always shut the water off. It's running full blast.
Yeah.
Doors are shut. Had to open them up. And then, Mary Elizabeth's has already been shut. And we caught that on camera because the camera's right across the hall from it. The nursery door there. But it's just, it was an awesome thing. And voices continuing. The hall's been pretty active, and it's getting set up and going towards it right now. And it's it's a great opportunity to be out there. We're cleaning up a lot of the woods next to it and everything else. I think you'll be quite surprised. A lot of people go by it. We couldn't do anything with the old land, and we had a lot of undercover, and everything else, and that's been all taken around. The barns are all cleaned up around the outside now, so it's really looks great, and I think the spirits are also conducive to it, and I think it's going to it really. I'm looking for a good year out of Octagon Hall this year. It's a great place to come.
Yeah. Oh, it most definitely is. I've never been disappointed going to the Octagon, even if you're not into the paranormal. It just for
historically wise, it's just it's awesome.
It's an amazing place, and you guys I salute you for what you do, taking care of it, man. And Billy was telling me I wouldn't recognize it when I get there. Y'all been doing so much work.
Been doing a little bit of work up there. Speaking of which,
I've got
talking about this event, Chili. We know you like to do some experiments.
Amen.
On these investigations, especially when you're doing live, and we've got somebody in here that actually has helped you out quite a few times on this. And we're talking about Austin Manor, right?
Yeah, he's helped me out a lot.
Do we want to go ahead and bring Austin in? Austin, are you good to go?
How's it going?
How you doing, Austin?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me
on.
Inspector Gadget is what I call him. He's always
there. You go.
He likes to think outside of the box. I love that about him. He he's always polite. I've never seen him. He's a positive guy. I like that. But he's always thinking outside of the box.
And that's what you got to do in this field.
Yeah.
Right.
But speaking about these experiments, what are some of the things that you and Austin have done together?
Middle Point, the Village. We've done a couple of events over back when we were all locked down, virtual ghost hunts. I'd reach out to them and they'd go live for me because they're a great team to watch, even if you're not there with them. You can just feel their emotion, that they're passionate about it. It's not like they're posing for their show. They're just raw and real, sort of like what R&R stands for. Yeah. And that's what I'm all about. They're not worried about the fashion police, what kind of clothes they got on or whatever. And they're always representing. Yeah, I love it, man. They're always representing.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the booze. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
They're always representing somebody, wearing one of their shirts, whatever, just sharing the love. And to me, that's what it's about. And the name of his paranormal, what is it? I always mess it up.
The Underground Paranormal Network.
Underground Paranormal Network. There it is. I always mess it up.
We've been working together since November 2019, or no, November of 2020.
Yeah.
It was 19. It was November 2019 when you came to Middle Point with Doogie at that time.
That's right.
And you still don't have the damn name right. Sorry.
I love it. He gets see how he gives me crap. But
what are some of the experiments you guys have done on some of the virtual stuff?
The virtual stuff?
Well, I mean, there was the one thing we did, the remote EVP session at the Village, where I was in the cabin there, and Doogie asked the question over the live feed, and we got a response to it.
That was off the chain. And then, in Middle Point, we stumbled on that the Corey, whatever, that night. That shook me to the core. And Austin, it shook him to the core because he wanted to be respectful and didn't want to disrespect anybody, which none of us did. But he took it to the extreme. The next day, he was just like he was ripped apart. Like, did we do wrong? And we didn't do anything. I mean, these guys were just doing an investigation. I was 500 miles away on my laptop, and man, they had something lead them, which we pretty well know in our hearts what it was, lead them out of the school. And I feel like we were in contact with Corey, and people's been in touch. And actually, Austin sent me a clipping of the newspaper.
Now we're talking about a cold case, right?
Yeah, it was pretty much a cold case until after that. I think, and I got to salute the authorities there, man, because they've been after it. And I think I sent you a copy of the thing because I was so impressed with it. But every time something comes out, one of the somebody from that town will message me, and then Austin keeps me posted.
Yeah.
And I've been there. The last time I went to, we didn't go to Middle Point, we went to the Village, but he took me around and showed me the jail that he had. I mean, this man has 5 or 6 locations. How many locations do you have now, Austin?
5 that we've announced, 2 that we have not yet. So 7 total, I guess.
Gotcha.
Excellent.
So in April, the end of April, beginning of March, I'm going to be going to Ohio. And I told him, I was like, you just pick the place and I'll be there. We'll do it. So he's working on something, and he's got so many gadgets. I was going to ask him too, what's the latest thing? I seen your box on Facebook today that you're working on, the one that sounded so good. You said you got one in there to show us.
This is the one.
Yeah,
today.
tell us about it.
Excellent.
Well, it's a AM scan, or it's basically an AM tuner that I took out. I put into these speakers right here are RCA 30-watt speakers.
Oh,
So you get
30
good loud sound.
Loud speakers.
Yeah,
and
you can hear that.
in the top here, so it gives it kind of a deep sound. But basically, I'm taking the AM and I'm using a sweep circuit that I actually modified myself. I found it's kind of my own actually, yeah. So I'm just kind of, it's a ghost box. I mean, it really is. It's got echo and reverb, and I think it sounds pretty good. I like the way that it sounds with the AM. It's very clear. There's not a lot of static. And these speakers are just fucking awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
Oh, that's fine.
All right, sweet. All right, yeah, because it just happens in my normal flow of conversation, and so if it happens, I don't want to feel bad.
You just be you, Austin. That's what we love. Is you.
Now I see another device right there in front of you that you just recently made noticeable to the audience.
Oh, I didn't. I guess I forgot it was there. I'm working on it kind of right now. But it's the integrated Estes headset. It's basically headphones that are gonna have a ghost box inside of it. So like it's a sweeping radio as a noise proof headset. It's the ones that they wear for like mowing the lawn or whatever, just
Right.
keep your ears protected, but you still listen to music, whatever. But I found one. I'm able to tap into it and make it sweep. And I just got to add an audio output jack so that we can record the sessions for literally, it's perfect for the Estes method. It's all built right there. You can control the volume, you can control the sweep speed. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So and he because he knows how I like to do the paranormal crash dummy stuff. So I have to be on my toes when I go up there, because I'm sure him and Eric and my good buddy, I call him Rockstar, Michael Ring, I love him to death. No telling what they're going to have in store for me coming up when I go there. Because as you can see, he can think outside of the box. No telling what he's going to put me in. So,
Ohio's a great place, and I basically grew up in Ohio. Right that way, and it's always been a hot spot with a lot of good paranormal stuff, a lot of Bigfoot, all kinds of interesting stuff in there, including UFOs as far as the Lake Erie and back.
Well, I think we're concentrated as hell with the locations too, like, and people don't even realize it.
Right.
People people know like the big names that are out there, Ohio State Reformatory, people know the Bel Air House, people know Madison Seminary, Fairfield and County Infirmary, all those ones. But like, there's so many different locations that people don't even talk about. People never even heard of. And that's why, like, what I do, with the Underground Paranormal Network, I try to find these locations that, that you wouldn't even expect to be haunted half the time, because
The
like,
road less travel is so.
yeah. And, like, that's something that people have not really looked into too much. Like, people always try to go to where there's tragic death, but hauntings,
it's everywhere.
You don't need to have a tragic death for somewhere to be haunted.
No, you don't.
And the land's been around forever.
Well, I mean, think about this. Like, okay, the Middle Point School, right? If you think about Middle Point School, right? There has not been a single actual death on the property. not even the land. I mean, I don't know. I can't find anything as regarding like death on the property itself. But I
It's
mean,
active, man.
I mean, outside of like the whole lure surrounding Corey, plus the just the whole town has a dark cloud over it, and this is Middle Point's really like a communion set. It's a community center where they just kind of almost take refuge there. They see that we're talking, so they'll come. All of them over in Middle Point. But like, think about maybe a principal who had worked who was at the school for 40 years, 50 years. He retired, and died shortly after. Where's he gonna go? Where did he have his best memories? I mean,
I had that contact with the janitor there.
Oh, Bob, yeah,
that was crazy, man. And actually, the lady from California, Mariah, yeah. She's a sweetheart of a lady. When you guys were winding down that night, the night I met you, she came to me. She's like, Chili, would you go back upstairs with me? Something's telling me to bring you with me. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So I'm going up the steps with her. She goes, I want you to tell me what you're feeling. And I was like, what? She says, tell me what you're feeling while we're walking. And we get to the top of the steps. We're walking down the hallway there. And I'm like, I said, I feel like I'm going to visit a janitor. She said, what? I was like, yeah, keys hanging off their side. And you know where she was walking me to? The janitor's closet, dude. Mm-hmm. You talking about freaking me out. I was like, I told her, I started laughing. I was like, I didn't know I was psychic. Where's this coming from? She was a sweetheart. She goes, no, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to lead you in your mind. I wanted you to come out with it. In other words, if somebody tells you you're going to hear this, your brain is programmed. Right. Even if it's not that word, it's gonna sound that way to you.
100%.
But see, she didn't do that. She was good. That's a sweet lady, man. But when we got in that room, it was crazy off the chain. I mean, I could feel that guy in there, and he was. I guess maybe he could tell that I was into maintenance and repair, stuff like that. I don't know what it was, but I guess it made a connection with me walking through there that night. And it wasn't asking for anything. It was just wanting basically to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And that freaked me out. I mean, you can ask Dougie. That's all I talked about all the way up. Man, I can't believe that. I knew I was going to see the janitor. And he goes, okay, you know how Dougie is. Okay, psychic. You going to read my future? And I was like, okay, but.
Hey, speaking of all that good stuff, we've got, you're talking about the females in the paranormal. We've got one of the ghost sisters here. She's been sitting in the green room for a while. I'm going to bring Mandy in here and let her. If you'd give her some props, tell us a little bit about Mandy. Or Mandy, you can tell us yourself. It's been a while. I see you on Facebook all the time. It's great to be able to have you on Into the Far. Nice to have you here tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, we're an all-female team out of Ohio, and there's 7 of us women. There's 3 full-time girls and 4 fill-ins. And actually, I heard y'all speaking about the Middle Point School. I actually have caught some pretty good evidence there myself. Had some really good experiences that happened there.
Been there a couple times, right?
Huh?
Yeah, it's actually where I've been
a couple times, right?
Yeah.
At least.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I first met Chili too. That night was at Middle Point.
And it was cold.
Yes.
God, it was cold that night.
It can get that way.
But the first time we ever went to Middle Point was probably, I'm thinking like 3.5 years ago. And it was in the wintertime. It was freezing. And we had a Jacob's ladder running in the dark room, I believe. I call it the creepy crawler room, but they call it the dark room. And so no one knows what a Jacob's ladder is. It's the guy that used to be on my team, he built this. He took a battery and like connected some stuff to it, and what it does, it like produces all this energy for the spirits. Mm-hmm. So we had it running in there for like maybe an hour or 2 before we started investigating, and it really was picking up the energy in that room. And we also had a night vision camera set up in that room. Well, later throughout the night, I went up in that room to investigate it and wasn't getting anything, but you just knew something was there. So me and this one guy goes to walk out, and I was the last one out the door. And as soon as I got out the door, I felt something rush up on me. And I said, something just rushed up on me. And same time, my niece was watching the cameras and had seen something rush out the door. So when we went back and reviewed everything, you can see this black. I mean, it was black as black. It just looked like it came up from the ground a little bit, just rushed right out the door. Looked like a big blob that was on the floor, but it was so cool because it's so dark in there. And there's I think there's one window, but it's all black. You can't see out.
There's actually like 3 or 4 windows that are all completely like covered up.
Yeah.
So it's dark. It's dark as hell in there. Like when you go in there at night, you can't see your hand in front of your face. Like it is really, really dark.
Yeah.
So we captured that, and also captured a really good picture in the auditorium room, or was it the gym area?
That's the same. The gym.
Yeah, but we captured this image sitting. It looked like it was sitting in the chair.
Right.
It was pretty cool. You could actually see the man in the suit and everything, the outlining of him. It was really good.
Wow.
Yeah, some good stuff there.
So I've never been to that. I've never been to that school, and I've heard a lot about it.
Come.
Ohio is one of the. I'll tell you, I'd love to. How close is it? I'm not too sure exactly where it's at. Can you fill me in? I mean, where's where Defiance is?
Yeah. Do you live in Defiance?
No, I've been in Defiance a lot. Done a lot of that stuff. So.
Okay. Yeah. Defiance is about 30 minutes north of Middle Point. It's down by Van Wert.
All right, man. Right. Okay.
5-10 minutes outside of Van Wert.
All right.
It's actually the middle point between Van Wert and Delphus.
Okay.
That's where he got his name.
Yeah.
Just like the Underground Paranormal Network. Hey, I got it right.
Got it that time.
That's it. Got it that time. Exactly.
I scored, baby.
I'm proud of you.
Say it again.
Underground Paranormal Network, by God.
We're a network of underground locations, bro.
I love it. I
It
love
does.
it. Hey, and Mandy, tell them about this place in Bristol y'all invited me up to that I went to. That place.
The
I'll tell
Shrine.
you, I call it the Dragon's Den. But we'll tell you what the real name is. But that place, that room that I went in, is the first time I felt something physically hit me in the chest.
The Crossroads.
I literally got hit in the chest in that room.
Yeah, we locked them up in this like a closet area with all these haunted dolls and artifacts, and I mean really haunted stuff. And
yeah, they had these torture masks.
That happened to him. Something touched him or something. I don't know. He was freaking out.
Yeah. Hey, they had these torture masks in there. You know what a torture mask is, right? It's where they take and they soak a piece of leather in water or liquid to make it soft, and they put it over your face and strap it on the back. And what it does, it shrinks to your face. It gives your face image. And they do that. They do this to people while they're alive. And they smother them out with that mask. And then when they're dead, they take the mask off and they hang it up as their trophy. And he's got 4 or 5 of those in there, man. So, when I first walk in there, I'm like, that was the last thing on that person's face. I mean, it made it surreal. And then when they shut the door, it really got surreal. That place, just to see it, the stuff in the ceiling, he has really done some work in this place. It's
everything.
It's a monk.
Like a shrine. It's a monk shrine. Japanese stuff in it. But it also has, he's got one area which is called the Earth Gate, and it's for witches. And then he has another room where he has a dragon portal table that they built. And it's an actual portal table that stays open the whole time. They don't close this thing down. It's just, they welcome anything to come through it. They have an area, it's a bamboo area, and it sets on, caves. the whole place has got limestone on it, and there's caves under it, and it's just one big like magnetic force for spirit. It's got everything you can imagine.
Crazy.
Elementals. I know there's some demons there. I know. I'm pretty sure there is. I mean, everything. Today's ghost, yesterday's ghost. I mean, everything you want in one area.
Now, where is this place at? What is it called?
This is a place. This is owned by a man, and it's not a pay place that you go to. It's just how I came across him. He actually found me, and he needed me to help him with something, and I helped him. And ever since then, he's been grateful to me. And
Awesome,
he
man.
allowed us
Very
to
awesome.
come there and investigate. And now we are the ambassadors of the shrine. So he allows us to take, teams there. And when you go there, they are amazing people. They cook for you. Lots of food. Chili, I tell you, lots of food.
The guy's a chef. Somebody's a chef because it was freaking food was off the chain. It was good.
Yep.
And
But
that
he's a Shindu.
I'm sorry.
Shindu master or something like that. He outweighs. He tries to balance the good and the evil. He has to keep everything balanced.
Yin and yang.
He has a lot of haunted things that people have given him, and so he tries to keep everything balanced. And when you walk in that place, you're going to be off balance. And no matter how hard he tries, I don't care who you are. You walk in there, you're going to feel it. It's going to hit you. You're going to be like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, and sometimes you'll feel like your equilibrium is off.
Yes, it's bad.
I mean, literally. You stand there and you'll feel dizzy, like the room is moving, but it's not, especially when you're sitting at the table, at the gate, the portal.
The dragon table, yes.
And the bamboo is crazy. You go out there, he's got a set where you can walk down into the middle of the bamboo. And I mean, the bamboo is so thick, you don't see through it. I mean, and in the middle of all this green, beautiful green bamboo, there is one solid white albino bamboo plant. And there's only two in existence. And one of them is there. And the other one is overseas in its original country. So people come to take photos of it. He was telling me of that albino bamboo plant because it's so rare. So that shows you that it's a special place to start with. Just with that, I was blown away with the artifacts, the architectural. Like she said, if something is in there evil, he's going to put something in there that's good to balance it. And that's sort of the way the monks believed anyway, yin and yang. You have to have them both to give a balance. You can have too much good.
Balance out the swung way.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an amazing place.
Yeah,
and that was one of my crash dummy special events there in that closet that they had turned into like a torture room, is what I call it, because it was.
It sits in a weird place. It's like you wouldn't expect it. It's like it'd be hard to find. It's in Bristol, Tennessee, and it's like up on a hill in the back, and
you wouldn't know. You have to know it's there.
Yeah,
you have to know it's there.
Is he actually a privacy monk? That's why he would pick the high area, the high ground.
Yeah.
By the way, Eric Mitchell says he will never go there with you.
Hey, Eric, how you doing, buddy? How's things in Arkansas tonight? Good to have you on, man.
He gives you a little medallion. He gave me a little medallion, to let me know that I had an open invitation to come with the ladies. That man was. His hospitality was off the chart. Very, very nice man.
Very intelligent. Very intelligent.
It'll actually. He's so intelligent, you don't want to talk much because no matter how smart you are, for some reason you'll feel stupid. Because he's a Sheldon, a grown-up Sheldon. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I was where was it? I was trying to the Village, Austin. That place. Billy, have you ever seen the Village on anything? Or
I watched the live when you guys were doing that.
Gotcha. What about you, Mandy? Have you been to the Village that he does?
No, I've not been there.
Okay.
Us girls have been there.
Have you?
It's
okay.
good.
That place.
I had some good stuff.
Bear,
I had a good time. All
y'all got
kinds
to go
of stuff.
check that out, man. That even if you're not into the paranormal, that's just a treat to walk through that town, man. That's awesome. And when I went there, I was not expecting what I seen. I mean, that is a location that's spread out for a mega event right there.
Well,
Mhm.
didn't you?
And where is this?
I believe you told me that you actually saw
When
something.
you say
there.
the village, I think of like the
Yeah.
Philadelphia village.
Well-
and there's other stuff that's around in there.
Surprisingly, man, you know Defiance. Then you should. Have you ever heard of Oglaze Village?
Oh yeah, okay, yep, cool.
That's
Great
it.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What's crazy is the day before I was going to see Austin, I think I was talking to him on the phone when this happened. I walked outside the shop where I was working on a bus and grabbed me a cigarette out of my truck, and I see a woman walking across the parking lot, and the building was ours. The only people there was the people working with me. It's a big parking lot, so it's sort of odd to see was long brunette hair
Oh yeah.
walking straight toward me. You couldn't see through it, so it wasn't like a ghost. I thought it was a real person. Didn't think nothing about it. Just thought she was walking across the parking lot, and I leaned down to put my cigarettes in my truck or get something else out of my truck, and then I could see it through my window. You know, when you reach into your truck, you can see out the other side of your truck. And I seen it was like 5 feet away. I mean, solid figure. And so I come up out of the truck, going to say, "Hey, can I help you?" And nothing was there. I was like, "What?" You know, I couldn't believe it. And I
Called me
called
right
Austin.
after that.
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, you ain't gonna believe this." And that was crazy. It was like on my way to there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I get there, we have activity like crazy.
Yeah, the Oglaze Village does sits on Native American land, and I know it's there was also Native American remains found there, a few different remains that were registered and then dated to it's like I think it was like 1500 BC to 200 AD.
Wow.
So like,
That's
like at
history
least
there.
1800 years old. At
Yeah.
least. And they had the bones on display for a while, but then the local Native American tribe over in Fort Wayne didn't take too kindly to that and made them take it down, and then they just kind of
Yeah.
nobody really knows where they're at anymore.
Right. And then see, after hearing that story, that shook me to the core after seeing the Native American looking woman walking across the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. But me
Yeah.
and Katie got some crazy stuff in the train.
Oh, like when they did the experiment where the train tracks that go around the property,
Yeah.
where he was connecting the EMF antenna or the EMF plug plus the actual radio antenna to the train tracks on each
Yeah.
side.
It was crazy,
And
man.
having the box run based on that energy. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was
And
fucking
And then inside the museum part where all the farm equipment's at and that big building,
Mhm.
and that little EVP session we did was off the chain, man. I'd never had such strong presence EVP wise. I mean, you knew that there was something on the recorder before you played it. You could feel it. As far as if you asked questions, you could feel the emotion and whatever was there. It was crazy. And it wasn't just me that could feel it. Everybody was there. It wasn't like I'm a special person or nothing. Everybody could feel it. And then another thing, Mandy was doing a live one night. You guys at I think the man lived in Ohio. There was something in his house, and I just was scrolling Facebook and seeing you guys on. And man, I want you to know I picked right up on what was going on in that house, and I just come in midstream. I just made a comment or two, and all of a sudden, Manny goes, "You sure you're not telling us something, Chili? What's going on with you? You're knowing too much." But it just came to me. It's not like I've got these powers or anything. I freaking knew what was going on. I called it out about a woman being in distress, and
Now we gotta kill him.
That was a good night.
Now we gotta
residential
kill
case.
him. He knows too much.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
Well, we had the ink
people
box
tried.
running, and the ink box, oh my gosh, it was the spirits were coming through there. I mean, so clear. It was amazing to listen to. You didn't want to stop listening to the box once it started, it was gone. And the spirits were coming through so clear, and they were intelligent spirits. They were actually, we'd ask a question and they would respond.
Instantly.
And it was really creepy because the things
the
that were
woman-
coming through it.
And the woman wanting help, that was just
The
tripping
lady
me
begging
out.
for help.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
tripping me out because I called it out. I was like, man. And that's when Mandy chimes in. Hey, Chili, how you doing this? You something we need to know? Are you not telling us something? That was
I'll talk to him afterwards too.
yeah. That was crazy. That was a crazy night. And
Yeah, it
there's another place I was thinking of. The jail that you took me to, Austin. That your first place you had, you said.
Oh yeah, the Williams County Jail.
Yeah.
Jail.
You told me about a few things that happened there that was pretty jaw dropping.
Yeah, there's been a number of things that have happened there that are jaw dropping, as you say. It's hard to give the right magnitude over the web chat, but
Gotcha.
There's some pipe access doors that are in there, and these things they do not open and close easily. You have to put all of your force, you're trying to push a football player to close this door. And I'm not even kidding. And there was one of the first times we were there, we had this thing open up 90 degrees on its own. There's only two of us in the entire building, and we were both upstairs. So I don't really, there's a lot of things like that. But there's a famous murder in Bryan. Well, I guess famous locally, right?
Right.
It was the murder of Emily Abernathy in the Bryan Library. This dude, James Angle, he was a sailor that had just come home and apparently went to the library that day or one day and then saw her and decided he wanted to kill her. And he had never had any issues before or anything like that. He just snapped that day. So he left. He came back a few hours later, closer to closing time, and he went down the basement where they had all the historical records. And she came down to tell him that it was time to leave. They were closing, and he stabbed her 27 times.
Wow.
And then apparently he then left for 2 hours, came back and stabbed her 6 or 7 more times, and then turned himself into police 2 days later after they found her and put out a bulletin to everybody. But he was actually, when he was arrested, he was booked at the Williams County Jail. This place was built in 1869, and there used to be all kinds of fencing and barbed wire all around the property and everything. It's since been decommissioned, whatever. Obviously,
how long ago?
It closed down in 2014 officially, but they moved all the detainees over to the CCNO building in Stryker in the 90s. 99 I think was when the last person was brought over to the CCNO. But then they used it as just the sheriff's department and the 911 emergency dispatch center after that until about 2014, where they moved down the street to the courthouse building.
Gotcha.
Or the municipal court building. But it's crazy because I started off with the town of Bryan, and it was actually the town. I actually had the jail, I had the grain elevator, I had the dojo, and we had Father John's at one point. We had, there's 5 or 6 buildings that we've had access to around town. I did the Hunt the Town events, which were pretty popular. The first couple I had, and then the third one got shut down because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID got us all, buddy.
Yeah, man, it was crazy because we had 100 fucking people show up to the ghost hunt on Saturday on the Hunt the Town too. It was 97 people that checked in.
Great.
Wow.
like, yeah. And
I'm
so, I
pretty
mean,
sure us girls have been to that jail too.
I think, yeah, you guys definitely went there.
Yeah,
You guys
it was
definitely went
good.
there. Yeah,
Got some
because
good EVPs.
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember how your night went exactly because like I'm there with a lot of teams.
I remember. I remember you were there. And, yeah, it was a good night. We were there with I can't Joseph. He was filming
Joe
us.
Warner. Yeah, Joe Warner.
Yeah,
That's
Joe.
right. Yep. I remember that actually because you guys were filming for something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
So we will love to try to make it. We seem to always be going into Indiana or over towards the West Virginia side, hitting the Bel Air House and over that way. And we're going to be up there in March again doing some stuff up there in West Virginia. But it's always Indiana or over this way, whenever above where my roots all come from. When I was born in West Virginia and transported into Ohio early in life, and went to high school and some other stuff through there, and then traveled around the country. But we would love to have you. I'd love to come up here and look at some of those locations. I'm sorry that we haven't been able to get a chance to do that yet. But we'd love to have you come down here and look at two locations. You can come to Franklin, and there's a great new jail that's opened up here. It's called the Old Stone Jail. It's run by the Historical Society and a wonderful team. Billy Wilkerson does it, and it's 6 miles north of. Yep, and 6 miles north of that is the Octagon Hall Museum. And
I went there with Chili last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we caught that. Oh man, that was where we caught that live EVP out at the cemetery. I remember that shit too because we were using the Lambda box that Jay built me.
Right.
It's got the microphone on top that you could just turn everything else off and just have that condenser mic on. And we had it sitting on the ledge, the stone little ledge that surrounds it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like my wife was standing there like talking because we kept hearing like breath go into the microphone. And it was weird because it wasn't even windy. And like when the breath came through, there was no wind. And so like eventually we heard a woman's voice, like a voice come through. And I reacted on the live feed too. I was like, holy shit, dude, what the fuck? That was a voice.
we've had a lot of oh shit moments at the hall.
Yeah, no, it was a cool place. It really was. I wish
Mandy, you've not been there, have you?
We're gonna have to change
We tried
that.
to get in there. We were trying.
We're gonna have to change that.
Yep.
We
We'll
want to
get you
go.
there. Yeah.
Come to the website or give me a call. You can find me if you call the website number, it automatically rings on my cell phone.
We
So
want
you
to spend the night.
can find
Yeah.
me. Yep.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, you guys will love it, man. It's
we do a lot of. There's a lot of groups, and we're fortunate enough to be a lot of people's bucket list because I'll really bring it at certain times, and it is it's quite the place. But guys, it's been a pleasure having you all on here tonight. We got a pitch Chili's new event coming up on March. February 12th, coming up here at the Octagon Hall.
Man, I'm looking forward to this. I've been out of the rim for too long.
I'd like to watch that, Chili.
Hey, it's gonna be on. It's gonna
But
be
we'll
on.
be
that night.
investigating.
Hey, that's okay. You can watch the replay, and I'll watch your
There we
replay.
go.
There you go.
Hey, in a heartbeat, I won't miss yours at all.
Mandy, I'll give you a little secret. At the hall, you really don't have to investigate because the hall will investigate you.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, 'cause I played hide and seek in there with them, and I would go and hide. I asked them at first of all. I said, "Hey, y'all want to play a game?" And we got yes. It was me and Doogie in there, and I was like, "What about some hide and seek?" And you could feel like anxiousness, like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so I'd go run and hide, and they would call out through EVPs where I was.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
if I was behind the door, it would say door. Or if I was in the hall, it would say hall. It was insane. And it just tickled me to death that I was getting that kind of interaction. It actually warmed my heart that I was actually giving them pleasure. And at the same time, it was giving me all the pleasure in the world. And that place had already warmed my heart by seeing the people that run it, how passionate they are about the place.
Well, I got a plan.
All right.
My sister Chastity was talking about getting us in this place, and we've heard about this place by some other ladies that are in the paranormal, and we've been wanting to go. And I told them, I said, if we go there, because we were talking about the whole weekend. Yeah. I said, well, if we go, I'm going to be running a live feed I'm going to have these girls separated. I don't know what the place looks like inside. I don't know how many rooms, but I'm going to have live feeds running on these girls all night long. Just to see, you never know.
Well, Mandy, it's not just the hall, it's the entire property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I heard. Crazy. Bigfoot. I heard there's Bigfoot out there on the property, which I want to go squatching, so we might have to do that.
Yeah,
there's Bigfoot out there. There's aliens out there. There is it's a smorgasbord of the paranormal world. Let me tell you.
I like that.
Yeah,
Nick Roth was there. Nick Roth was there filming for Deathwalkers, and first 15 minutes he was there, he had a UFO experience.
Yeah.
Wow. Some people just got all the luck, right?
But
I'm glad somebody got it, though.
Yeah. Guys, I appreciate you. I'd love to have both of you on later on here coming up separately on Into the Fire. We'll see if we can work that out. And talk about some of the awesome equipment that you're doing, Austin Maynard, and Mandy, talk about the Ghost Sisters and see what's going on with them, because aggressive group getting out an awful lot and covering a lot of stuff. You also have a radio show. You still have your radio show?
What was that?
Yes, if you tell your radio show.
Yeah,
your podcast
show. I know you do a lot of lives. Do you have an actual show that you do?
Well, we just do podcasting, and when we go investigate, and we do a lot of lives. Yeah.
Got you.
We lost you, Bear.
Yeah, something. I was sitting there going, and I went, wow.
How would people find
Well, I couldn't, because it was like you said something, and I was like, what? And then you just disappeared.
How would people?
Luckily, reading my mind, he took it over.
What did you say, Miss Tonya?
How would people find you to see your lives on Facebook?
We go live off of on Facebook on Ghost Sisters. You can come there, follow our page, like our page, and get the notifications. We're on all social media. Sometimes we're live off of YouTube also. We don't go live on TikTok a lot, but I do have a big following on TikTok, and we do post a lot of videos there too. But Instagram, Twitter, all social media. But right now, our biggest following is, TikTok's about to pass us up. But the big following right now is on Facebook. That's where we do most of our lives, on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, hey, before we wind this down here in a few minutes, before this slips my mind, sometime in the summer, I'm going to do a thing called Voices in the Water this year, some lives on the lake out here at Center Hill Lake where I live. Because, of course, most of the lakes across the United States are man-made. And before the lakes were there, people lived there. And it's not like they wanted to move. They were made to move in a lot of places. They just basically, too bad. This is what we're paying you for. You got to go. And a lot, especially up here, there was.
I got experiments for you, by the way, for that.
Okay. All right, good. Because I've researched the amount of deaths on the water, and there's one murder mystery still, a young 20-year-old young girl that got murdered, and supposedly she fell off the cliff of the island. There's an island out right not far from a marina. You can actually see the island from the marina. They went out there. It was during Wake. They call it Wake Fest. It's like a big week-long party. And her and her girlfriend went out to the island with their hammocks, going to sleep. And Next morning, there was a couple of guys that followed them along. Next morning, the one girl wasn't there. Her hammock was, but she wasn't. Of course, they never found her. They found the body a few hours later, what I call upstream, against the current.
Mm-hmm.
And I jumped off of my boat last year, swam up to the island, and went up to the cliff, because you go around the back, and it's really not like climbing a cliff. It's just like walking up a big hill. And got to the point where her hammock was, because people have stuck flowers and stuff, and family and stuff coming. And I looked over the cliff. There is no way I could have back up and run wide open. I was too scared to make the jump because you couldn't clear the rocks. There's no way. And they found this young girl's body against the current on the other side of the lake. The lake flows. She should have went the opposite direction. And it's still an unsolved thing, but not just for that. I want to go out there, and I've been examining the plots, the land plots from the county clerk's office. So when I get to a certain part of the lake, I know whose land I'm above.
Yeah.
From the past.
Plus, there's still cemeteries down there, because when they flooded that area, they didn't move the cemeteries. They didn't move all that stuff.
And,
all those areas in Tennessee with the man-made lakes. They just left houses and everything there.
Yeah. The flood that we had here in Tennessee about 10 years ago, several bodies were washed up. Several graves were washed up. They found in neighborhoods where the water had risen, and flooded an area.
Yeah.
So it's just, and every lake's like that. And it's a beautiful place, peaceful place, but there's history there. And the more I read about how they took the land, and a couple of farmers that had a few thousand acres, it was handed down from generation to generation. I'm like, man, they've got stories that needs to be told too, and if I can dig up those names and then go out there, if I can get some contact off that, I'm not saying I will, but how am I going to find out unless I go and do it?
I think you might be pleasantly surprised, because I was out one time with a person out in Nickeljack Lake. A psychic medium got a very weird photograph with a flare, and actually saw communication between her head and a tombstone. And it was like, wow.
Speaking of mediums, Bear, I tuned into one of your shows a while back.
Yep.
And you had a young lady on there. I'm trying to remember her name. Billy knows who I'm talking. What's this lady's name?
Angel Lee.
Angel Lee. We talked about you the other night, because we got her coming back on.
Look here, man. Guys, I just tuned in and just said hello, just letting Bear and them know, hey, I'm watching your show. And she chimed in on me. I've never met this lady in my life. And she called out my aunt that had just passed away a few months prior, and was saying she was still with us or whatever, basically with my mother, she was saying, and saying there's something special in August that she's wanting to let your mom know, to let her know that she's going to be there. Guess what my mom's birthday is? August. This lady had no clue, dude. And I've always been, when it comes to mediums, I'm very skeptic. I'm not knocking them, because, hey, I believe in the paranormal, and some people think I'm, crazy. Well, maybe, but I know there's paranormal. But nevertheless, I've always got my guard up on that kind of stuff, because a lot of people that aren't true, I think that you give them clues for them. If they read your face expression, they practice this stuff, man. And and a lot of them aren't legit. This chick was legit, man.
Yeah, when you see her do a gallery reading, or you see her do the type of stuff we do live on the radio, it is just awesome and fantastic. So it is quite different. So,
sorry, I hate to interrupt. I got to get out of here. I got to go to work.
Austin, real quick, I appreciate you coming in, but tell us where we can look at some of the stuff that you're doing, some of your locations. Where's a good place to follow you at?
Facebook.com/the UGPN. It's the Underground Paranormal Network, but the app, the URL is the UGPN. THEUGPN.
Excellent.
They're always doing
Fantastic.
live, guys. They're always doing lives. They're awesome.
Yeah. And we appreciate you guys coming on tonight. We thank you. I'm going to let you go when we close out the show. It's been a pleasure having you all. I hope to have you all back here soon or individually. So
I look forward to seeing you Saturday, man.
Yes, Saturday night, all coming down at the Octagon Hall Museum.
And I'm going to
Chili, Home Alone.
bring a sack of fun for Billy Sims.
There you go. There you go.
I can stir them up for you.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Be good, Austin.
Hang in there. We'll be in the green room here.
There we go. And it's us now.
All right. And yeah, and we're going to bring you.
There we go.
Hang on, Mandy. We'll bring you right back in as I we'll put you back in the green room for a second. Yeah, I got the flippy things going on.
We got to get him an Atari stick. See?
Yeah, exactly.
We played Atari. We didn't play Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's thank you all for everyone. Mandy, Chili, all of it. Billy and Tonya, thank you. We'll look forward to see you in Saturday night at the Octagon Hall with Chili.
Yeah, we'll announce the time during the day, Saturday.
Yep. Excellent. It's fantastic. And if everybody, next week, we have Donna Hartley Lucas on Into the Far. She is with Gallatin Ghost Hunts and runs all the ghost hunts there. We'll be talking about historical sites and haunts, and also her new book that we helped collaborate on a little bit. So it'll be an interesting night there. And then the week following, as Chili mentioned, we're going to have a very special show for you because we're going to do two excellent mediums at one time. And those two mediums are going to be Teresa Rose and also Angel Lee, the spiritual messenger. So ought to be a blow-up time. So mark your calendar down for February 22nd, and it will be an awesome show for sure. But we thank you all for putting up with us. I didn't get in the chat room as much as I liked you tonight, but thank you all for watching. God bless you, and have a great night.
Hey, I love you guys. See you Saturday.
Love you too, buddy.
Everybody that didn't, you just missed it. If you didn't, watch it later.
There you go.
You guys be good.
All right.
Technical difficulties, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.